Hey everybody, in today's video, I want to help you build a spreadsheet step by step that will basically change the course of your Coast Fire journey. The reason I like this is because it helps you visualize the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life, and it helps you break these things down into little obtainable chunks, okay? A lot of people, when they see financial independence retire early videos, they just see this huge number that they need to get to, 3.6 million. They're like, I'm never going to get there, right? This is going to help you do the exact opposite. It's going to relieve a lot of anxiety, and it's going to give you a lot of guidance and just a clear vision on how to get to where you want to get to in terms of retirement age and also your annual spend. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I'm going to build, this is just one little portion of it. I'm going to build out the rest with you step by step. It's more of a teach a man how to fish rather than give a man a fish kind of concept. But first and foremost, we need to understand what Coast Fire is if you're not familiar with this. So Coast Fire is basically, in my opinion, the best version of fire. There's so many different versions of fire. There's fat fire, chubby fire, lean fire, barista fire, whatever, obese fire, anorexic fire. My point is that with this, Coast Fire allows you to get to a certain number today, and that way you're going to coast with time and compound interest to your desired retirement spend, your annual spend, and your desired retirement number, okay, age. So this spreadsheet is going to break all those things down. So the first and foremost, the most important things that you need to understand is there's so many different like Coast Fire calculators out there, and they're all very helpful. But for this assumption, we're going to break it all out into one page. So let's just start with the basics, okay? So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. It's very simple. We're going to have what our current portfolio has in it today. I just made up this number, okay? This is for someone who's 37 years old, assuming a 7% ROI with a 3% inflation rate and a safe withdrawal rate of 4%. All that means is that we are netting 4% from our investments, 7% minus 3% inflation for a net positive of 4%, and a safe withdrawal rate of 4% just means that it's 25x your annual spend. You're going to get 25 years of annual spend from this, and most of the time, in most situations, you're not even going to touch your principal. Sometimes it may grow, or sometimes it may just deplete just a very small amount. So this is what this entire spreadsheet looks like, but you'll see that we're going to add way more chunks to this to where you can actually visualize different annual spends, different ages you can coast to, and it's just going to be a wealth of information. So for this, I'm going to start with Wallet Burst's Coast Fire Calculator. That's walletburst.com. I have no affiliation with them. But with these calculators, you're always like putting in 8 million different metrics. You have no idea what you need to do. And that's why I'm going to break it down with my spreadsheet here. So I'll just give you my real numbers. I'm 37 years old at the time of this recording. What we're going to do is I'm going to do the ages from 40 to 59 and a half. The reason I did that is because I don't want to work till I'm 67. I don't even want to work till I'm 62. I don't want to work at all. That's why I'm making these videos on YouTube, so I don't have to work. But anyway, my point is that we're going to do different ranges, and we're going to provide different dollar amounts needed today, and we're going to see what percentage we're at. We're going to see how to color code it, and we're going to see the difference, okay, of where we're at currently. So what we're going to do is let's start with age 37. Retirement age in this case, let's just start with 40. We're going to do this for all the scenarios, okay? And if you're obviously older than 40 watching this video, just adjust these age numbers to what you want it to be. The only number that matters right here is the amount needed, and I'll show you how to get that number. So for different scenarios, I'm just going to replicate the one that I already have. This one is assuming $75,000 of annual spend or annual expenses, okay? Current invested assets doesn't matter. Monthly contribution doesn't matter. All that matters is these assumptions: 7% growth, 3% inflation, 4% safety withdrawal rate, okay? Now, if you think your investments are going to grow more and you want to do, 8% minus 3% inflation, we can create other scenarios. We can create a 5% net and literally just put it right next to this one so you can compare. I'm going to stick with 4%. That is conservative. Typically, the median net has been right around 5.8%. So if you want to shoot for 5.8% net returns, that's probably the most fair. I'm going to be a little bit conservative with 4% because I like to be pleasantly surprised, okay? It's like when my wife says, "You did a good job today." It's a pleasant surprise, okay? So anyway, here's what we're doing. Just a quick recap. Put in the age that you currently are. You can create this spreadsheet however you want. I'm just going to do it in increments of 5 years, and I'm going to start with $75,000. For some people, this is, a drop in the bucket. I can't live off 75 grand a year. For other people, 75 grand a year is a lot. Me, I have no mortgage. I have no debt. I have no consumer debt. I have no auto loans. I am completely debt free. So 75 grand for me in the Midwest is like, oh ho ho, I'm living high in the hog, right? So 7, 3, and 4, that's what I'm going to do, which gives us a number of 1,666,868. So let's see if I put this in correctly in the spreadsheet. I did. Okay. So for age 40, I need this amount, which you're going to get from the wallet burst calculator. And then what we're going to do is you just take under percentage. That just means the percentage of the way you're there. It's basically you take the absolute value. Okay. Absolute value just means you put a $ here, a $ there, and you take it from this cell right here. So let me delete this and I'll show you exactly how it works. So equals, remember, our current portfolio is the number that we care about. And when I say portfolio, this just means how much you have invested in equities. And we're going to divide it by the amount needed. So it's what we currently have divided by the wallet number or wallet burst calculator number, the amount that we need, and we hit enter. So that gives us basically 51%. That is a difference of 816,000. How do I figure out this number? We're going to take the same thing. Let me just delete this number so you can see here. Equals this, and I'll make it absolute value of our current portfolio. $ here, $ there, minus the amount needed. It's what we have invested minus what we need. So I know that I need to get to 8 to be able to coast to or reach financial independence by age 40. I need to invest another $816,868 today. Okay, that would get me to 1.6 million, and that would basically get me to coast fire in 3 years. Okay, so what you do is you just repeat these steps. So if I went back to wallet burst, I'm going to basically put in age 45. Okay, same assumptions: 7%, 3%, 4%. What do I get? 1.37 million. Let's see if it's the same number here. Oh, look at that. It is. You then input $1,370,044. Okay. You put that there, and then you can just drag these cells down all the way. It'll just copy the same formula. You drag these cells down, you copy the same formula. You're done. You just now created a scenario, and you can even put a little note here if you want. What I do is I just right click. I put in notes. There will be a button right here that says notes, and you can just add what your assumptions are. So for me, I just now completed Coast Fire $75,000 annual spend, 4% safety withdrawal rate, 4% net. Now, say it's next year. Say you're 38. You would have to go in here and update these numbers if you want, or if you're doing this at the beginning of the year, well, then you know exactly what you need to do, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to recreate a couple more of these. That way you can see how it's actually built, again, from scratch. But before we get into that, very quickly, the other foundation of your finances that I like to talk about a lot on this channel is life insurance, okay? When you're building a big nest egg like this, when you start getting into multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, you need to be able to protect it, especially if you're a high-income earner. Let's get into today's sponsor, Policy Genius. One of the proudest financial moments in my life was paying off our house. That feeling of security and knowing that my family has a roof over their head is something that I'll never forget. But that didn't just happen by accident, you guys. It was the result of a lot of planning, saving, and making financial sacrifices over time. And part of that planning is knowing about what happens if I'm not around anymore. So that's where life insurance comes in. I know no one wants to talk about life insurance, but if you're building a legacy for your family like I am, It is a must. A lot of people put it off. I understand. However, life insurance doesn't feel urgent until it is. But let me make it easy for you. Policy Genius makes finding and buying life insurance so simple. I've used it. My wife has used it. It's so easy. They help insure your loved ones, and they make sure that they have a financial safety net to cover any debts, living expenses, or just keep life moving if the worst were to happen. So with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are even 100% online, and you can skip the medical exam. That's what my wife and I did. So here's what I like the most. Policy Genius lets you compare quotes from top insurers in just a few clicks, so you know you're getting the best deal. Their licensed agents aren't there to upsell you. They walk you through all your options, and they handle the paperwork, and they make sure that you're taken care of. There's zero pressure on their end. And if you're relying only on the policy through your job, be careful. It might not be enough, and it probably won't follow you if you leave. This is a piece of financial planning that too many people overlook, but it's one of the most important. So if you're a parent, a caregiver, a spouse, or just someone who wants to leave behind peace of mind, make this the year you check life insurance off your list. Head to policygenius.com/whiteboardfinance to compare free quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/whiteboardfinance. The link's also in the description. Smart money isn't just about what you do today. It's also about planning for tomorrow. Let Policy Genius help get you there. Okay, so let's build this out with a different annual income. So say, for example, what you can easily do now is you can just copy and paste this. But instead of 75 grand, let's say you need 60. Okay, let's just pretend you need $5,000 a month. And a nice little exercise that I like to do is if you want to know exactly how much that is per month, what I like to do is I like to take the number, let's say 75,000 divided by 12, and that'll give you the exact monthly income that you'll be getting from this hypothetical scenario. Okay, so if I do that here, let's take 60,000 divided by 12. That's simple math. That's $5,000 a month. Okay, 5 times 12 is 60. So with all this being said, I wish there was an interactive way of which I could have you like pause the video and try and build it out on your own. If you want to do this without my help or guidance, pause the video and see if you can remember how to do it. If not, what I like to do is I'm just going to copy and paste all these headers right here. That way you don't have to recreate the wheel. And then you can take these ages, copy, paste, and then the amount needed is going to change. Why is that? Well, because we're paying ourselves $15,000 less. And the reason there's not some, one-size-fit-all spreadsheet that I can create is just because everyone has different ages they want to retire. They have different annual expenses in retirement. Everyone's situation is so unique and different. What I like to do is I like to build out multiple scenarios, and that way, as time goes on and your portfolio changes, say we have 460, you can see how it changes. Say I have $1 million, you can see how it changes, right? It's very dynamic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Wallet Burst, okay? I'm going to figure out how much I need for 60 grand. So I would just go back here. I put this back to 40. I change this to 60, keep my assumptions the same, and there you go. You can just copy and paste it if you want. You go here, boom, there's the number, okay? Very simple. And you can format this to be, dollars, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can clean it up however you want to clean it up. So same thing, okay? You can either pause the video here. I'll just do it very quickly. Or let's see if you can copy the formula here. Yes, you can. Look at that. So now it already knows to take your portfolio, the absolute value of cell B1 divided by E11, which is this right here. See how smart that is? And you don't even have to redo the work. You can just copy the formula here, pull it back down, pull this down. And the reason these are coming up as errors is because you still need to give it an amount, okay? So let me do that right now. Okay, so I filled in the rest of the amounts based on these metrics, and here you go. So if right now on day 0, if you had $1 million in equities or a portfolio that nets 4%, doesn't matter what it is. It could be Beanie Babies, it could be stocks, it could be bonds, it doesn't matter, jelly beans, whatever. You know that as long as it grows at 4%, based on these numbers, you can now start to visualize, oh, okay, I'm $96,000 away from reaching full fire at age 37 by age 45. Does that make sense? So if you just keep repeating these over and over and over again, you can really build out a huge spreadsheet that helps you visualize this stuff very easily. Check this out. Okay, so I just did this all the way down to 50 grand. I know it's kind of hard to see. I apologize. You can see once you actually figure out just these numbers here, the amounts needed, you can just copy and paste the cells, and now you're starting to get a much bigger picture or much better picture of your financial life, okay? Or at least your Coast Fire life. So basically, I did this all the way down to 50 grand, and you can see that if I'm 37 years old and had $1 million portfolio right now, I'm basically by age 42, 43-ish, because I'm 9% over for age 45, you can see that I'm going to reach financial independence in the next 3 years, or 6 years, excuse me. If I wanted to reach it by age 40, I would need 1.111 million, okay? And this is nice because you always know that, hey, I'm only $4,700 away from this number right here. I'm only $96,000 away from this number right here. And when I say only, I mean, you're not doing this, you're not transferring 100 grand overnight, even though you can if you have it. All I'm trying to say is with this spreadsheet, you can visualize all these scenarios much easier than plugging this stuff back and forth in this calculator right here. So the way that I like to set this up is I'll have 4% net over here. And then what I do is I just copy and paste this. Let me give a little space right here. And then I redo the numbers for 5% net. And then I'll just change this to 5%. You know, you have your notes or whatever, you can change it to, you know, what your actual inflation rate is or your ROI or your safety withdrawal rate. And it just gives you a second set of numbers to work with, okay? So this could be like your conservative column. This can be your, you know, mild column, and then you can have an aggressive column over to the right based on your assumptions. Again, I like to go conservative just because I want to be pleasantly surprised. You know, you cut the grass, your wife goes, "Good job, our lawn looks great," you know, and then she brings you lemonade and dinner and all that stuff. That never happens in real life. Oh, you dropped the kids off at daycare again? Oh, you cooked, cleaned, vacuumed? Here's a pat on the back. Good job, buddy. Go do it again for the next 40 years. No, I'm just kidding. My wife's awesome. We are completely equal. We share equal responsibilities. It's 2025. She changes my oil. No, I'm just kidding. With all that being said, again, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy looking at it this way because if you're ever feeling down by watching these, like, okay, say you go into like a financial independence, retire early subreddit, and everyone's like, I work in tech, I make 700 grand a year, I have $47.3 million, can I retire? You know, it's like the dumbest questions, dude. And you're like, I don't have $3, let alone, you know, 3 million, and it gets you discouraged. So with something like this, with Coast Fire combined with these different age tranches, okay, it helps me put a lot of things into perspective. So here's a perfect example. Say, for example, if this was my real number, let's just pretend I had $1 million in equities. These are my actual numbers. You know, I can comfortably live from basically 50 grand a year to 75 grand a year because I have no debt, okay? My wife works. So say, for example, I want to buy a sports car. And I go, oh, that's an irresponsible financial decision. But then it's like, wait, dude, I'm almost financially independent by age 45 based on these assumptions. So yeah, let me live a little bit, okay? Oh, let me take this crazy, $10,000 vacation. Why would I do that? That's financially irresponsible. I need to eat rice and beans. I need to live like a miser and a pauper. Oh, wait, I'm financially independent with a $55,000 annual spend by age 45. That's pretty cool. Most people are working till they're 70, right? So all I'm saying is that it gives you perspective. You can have your cake and eat it too. And if you know a lot of these numbers aren't green or yellow, oh, sorry, I didn't show you the conditional formatting. Duh. That's how I get it to automatically show you if it's green or yellow. So what I did was go to Format, go to Conditional Formatting. So what you do is you just give it a range, and then format cells if greater than 90%, okay? So anything that's 90% is automatically going to go yellow. And then if it's greater than 100%, if you go back to this rule right here, format, conditional formatting, value is greater than 100%, or you should do greater than or equal to, actually. That's a more smarter way of doing it. And then it just makes it green, okay? So that just helps you visualize stuff a little bit easier. So for me, again, it just gives you perspective, you guys. It's not a race. You can only compare yourself to yourself, okay? Don't go on Reddit. Everyone's got $8 trillion on there, okay? Everyone's working in tech, making $3 trillion a year. This will help you compare yourself to your numbers. How old do I want to be by the time I reach financial independence? Okay, 25x my salary or my annual expenditures, excuse me. What are my realistic annual expenditures in retirement? That's the only two numbers you need, plus the growth assumptions. And there you go. Again, this is not guaranteed. There could be World War III tomorrow, okay? Nuclear war tomorrow. No one can predict that. But it helps give you a gauge and give you perspective. Also, the reason I do the age tranches is because your mind changes as you get older, okay? When you're in your 20s, you want to do some like vagabond lifestyle camp, live in your, sleep in the back of your Tesla and travel the world, right? Well, you may not want to do that when you're 50, okay? Or you may get sick, God forbid. You may be unhealthy and your perspective completely changes where it's like, screw financial independence, like, I want to go visit every baseball stadium in the United States or, something like that. I'm just making this up. But my point is that as you get older, your mentality changes. As you get older, God forbid, health issues become real, more serious. When you're younger, you think you're invincible. So for me at 37, I'm not young, I'm not old. I'm just somewhere in the middle. This helps give me perspective that, hey, this is how much I have. This is what I've done well. I can also, have my cake and eat it too. Let me buy the sports car. Let me take the crazy vacation. Let me go to, World Cup, whatever. It doesn't matter. My point is that everyone's got their thing. And the reason I don't like a lot of stuff online is, especially in the FIRE movement, for sure, those people are so cheap. These are the cheapest people on planet Earth, okay? Oh, I'm retired. Here's my 7 pieces of rice I can eat tonight. Here's my 3 beans. Do you really want to live like that? Okay, I don't. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I don't think I am. All right, thank you, everybody. If this video is helpful, please share it with 13,000 friends. Please like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Do all that good stuff. And as always, have a prosperous day. Oh, honey, we're retired. What's for dinner? Oh, ramen. Nice. Sweet. No, thanks.